The Wolston Park Hospital review has been completed, and I'm reading out some of the stories of those who survived the facility or their families or friends. This story was written by participant 12, Sister, and it's titled My Beautiful Brother, 1960 to 1980. My brother was only 17 years old when he was involuntarily admitted into Wolston House, a locked mental ward inside Brisbane Hospital, initially for 3 weeks in June 1978. This followed a misadventure during a fruit-picking trip where he became lost on a property and was found naked, frozen, and hallucinating on magic mushrooms. When the police searched his backpack, they discovered same-sex pornography. At that time, being gay in Queensland was a crime, a sign of mental illness and a source of embarrassment. The police decided to return him to our mother, who then took him to our family doctor. Together, they decided that he needed to be admitted for assessment. That's how my creative brother ended up in a locked mental ward, where he was given 8 rounds of shock treatment, a daily 60 milligram dose of Serapax, other psychotropic drugs, and way too many injections of Lagactyl. I watched my brother transform over the next few weeks into a dribbling zombie, quivering as he shuffled in circles with sunken eyes that rolled like the whites of marbles, as he smoked cigarettes down to the butt, burning his already blistered, orange-stained fingers. The witty, talented poet who identified with Ziggy Stardust, David Bowie's queer extraterrestrial alter ego, had dissipated into a pool of drool. After telling a psychiatrist he felt 1,000 years old, he was misdiagnosed as a catatonic schizophrenic and admitted to Wolston Park for 1 year for his own safety and in his best interests. He had just turned 18. My brother contested the power of psychiatrists to label him mad, resisted shock treatment, and refused to take antipsychotic drugs. His rebellion drew him into violent confrontations with wardens and nurses who repeatedly gave him tranquilizers and locked him in isolation. At one point, he was physically restrained to his bed where he slept in feces and urine. He escaped captivity several times, climbing over the perimeter fence. In August 1978, he fled, hitching a ride to Brisbane. When police recaptured him, this time he was transferred to Pierce House, a forensic prison for violent offenders inside Wolston Park. Having just turned 18 and being half the size and age of the inmates, his life was in constant danger. To survive, he had to make moral decisions that haunted and traumatized him. The first time I visited my brother at Pierce House, I was only 16 years old. I watched in horror as a group of warders laughed at my 46-kilo brother as he plucked institutional grey trousers, twice his size, from a pile in the communal bathroom. Each time he pulled them up, they fell to the floor, exposing his petite naked frame and shriveled genitals. When I yelled, "What the fuck are you doing to my brother, you cruel bastards?" the nurse threatened to lock me up in Osler House, a forensic locked ward for adult female offenders adjacent to Pierce House. The charge nurse said there were already 16-year-olds in Osler House, and I could join them and visit my brother through the barbed wire fence. Although terrified, I later also complained about bruises all over my brother's body, back, and around his throat. He told me that these bruises occurred while being raped in the communal shower block, describing himself as the bum boy of Pierce House. About a year after his first admission to Wolston Park, he complained in writing of another brutal attack by a nurse. This was in Noble House at Wolston Park. This morning I was in bed when the nurse stepped in and ripped the covers of my bed, grabbed me by the ankles, dragged me out of the bed, and I fell on the floor. I called him a bastard, and then he came over and hit me about 4 times and then grabbed me by the throat, choking me. After that, he left, then came back with a second nurse who had a needle. I said I didn't want it, and then I ran down the stairs. They chased me and caught me, taking me back up the stairs, thus giving me the needle. September 1979. A brave patient backed him up, offering a witness account. On this very day, a sympathetic registrar took action and prevented any further victimization of my brother, approving immediate leave. Fortuitously, a few weeks before the vicious attack, I had written to the register pleading for my brother to be discharged into my care. Thankfully, the caring social worker sent to interview me didn't discover I was 17, recommending that my brother be permitted to live with me in Butterham, where we'd resided without any parents since 1977. That is how my brother regained his freedom after 15 grueling months as an involuntary patient. My brother and I shared an unbreakable bond, being the two youngest of 6 siblings, bound together like tar to a road. We had a symbiotic sibling intuition, allowing us to sense each other's thoughts and feelings. When one of us felt pain, the other felt it too. The painful memories of my brother locked up in Pierce House have scarred me forever. For 44 years, I was told that my memories of my brother being detained at Pierce House were false. In 2022, I applied for my brother's institutional records from Wolston Park. Initially through state archives, then through the Department of Health. I was denied access to the records. Embargoed for 100 years, I'd have to live to 116 to access my brother's records. So I then successfully appealed to the Information Commissioner in 2024, gaining access to 196 pages of his institutional file, provided irrefutable evidence that my memories of visiting my brother in Pierce House were true. I also discovered much more about my brother's experience in psychiatric captivity. This moment was transformative. While I knew he was abused, I never knew he also had champions among staff who genuinely cared for him. That's when I began to heal and feel the pain wash away like a creek into the river. In October 1980, aged just 20, my cherished brother committed suicide. This was approximately a year after his release. The fear of returning to Pierce House, Wolston Park, haunted him while living in a clandestine relationship with his boyfriend. On the constant edge of discovery, he couldn't live with the love of his choice. But nor could he live without love, being queer in a very straight world of the 1980s, where gay guys were thrown off cliffs and bludgeoned with baseball bats with reckless impunity. I believe my brother could still be alive today had he not been traumatized by his experience in Wolston Park Mental Hospital. He should never have been transferred to Pierce House, a locked forensic ward for the most violent male offenders in Queensland under any circumstances. It is a testament to his indomitable spirit that he survived 10 weeks and 4 days locked up in that brutal hellhole. My heart pours out for others like my brother who endured such brutalities during this era at Wolston Park. I am grateful for the opportunity to participate in the review of Wolston Park and hope its recommendations lead to public acknowledgement and apologies for my brother and others whose lives were harmed, lost or destroyed, and that efforts are undertaken to identify those buried in 2,800 plus unmarked graves strewn across the 3 cemeteries of Wolston Park. The public memorialization of the hidden histories of atrocities from this era at Wolston Park is long overdue. This is important so they are never forgotten and never repeated. I especially thank my dear friend, a talented artist who was also in Wolston Park from the age of 16, who has brought my dear brother back to life through her stunning portraiture. I hope her paintings of former patients, staff and buildings and artifacts of Wolston Park are essential to any public memorial. I wish to acknowledge the bravery and resilience of other former patients, their relatives and staff whistleblowers for their courage in trusting an ABC journalist who spent months investigating and creating our stories for widespread public impact. Without this dedicated journalism and the bravery of survivors, our stories may still be untold and the dirty past of Wolston Park hidden, like the identities of the thousands buried there. Finally, I thank Professor Robert Bland and his team for conducting this inquiry in such a professional, supportive, and trauma-informed manner.